All right, back on here. Sorry about that. Instagram rules, they kick you off after an hour. I guess they don't want to use up all their data. So, all right, so we have Kris Tomes on here still. These questions, real quick. I don't know how much longer he has. He has kids and everything. I'm sure he wants to go spend time with his kids before he has to go to work tomorrow. But we'll answer just a couple more questions. Kris, you can go ahead and read off the questions as they're going to pop up. If your question wasn't answered last time, go ahead and throw it back up there again. I know I'm making you guys do this over and over again, but this thing keeps on going all the way up, and I want to make sure that your questions are answered. So if you have more questions, go ahead and throw them up there, and then we'll get them answered. Kris, how much longer do you mind staying on here for?
No time limits. That's all good. Whatever you need.
Good. All right. I want to hear one of your motivational speeches again. It's been a while since I've heard it. Like, I don't know, the elephants, the Troy, I don't know, one of those. Something that you think these guys could take home.
Uh, well, the elephant's pretty good. I guess I could tell that one because I really do relate to that one. Like one thing that is going to happen in Indoc is there's a limit that you guys are going to hit where physically your body kind of gives out and now you're mentally kicking in that, and that's going to drag the body through Indoc. There's always a point in Indoc you're like, man, this is my point. And it's up to you to kind of break through that and press on. So the elephant story he's asking, I've told a few times, is about this elephant that you walk into this circus and it's the biggest elephant you've ever seen. It's like a 50,000-pound elephant, and it could easily just trample anyone and take that tent down, but it doesn't. And if you look at this elephant, there's this tiny little string that's around its neck, and there's this tiny little string that goes into the ground, and there's this tiny anchor. And you're wondering why he can't just break away and trample down anything. So what you do is you look back at this elephant's life, and when he was a baby, the circus owners had put this huge chain around its neck. I mean, it's a massive chain, and a massive chain to the ground, and a huge anchor into the ground. And it tugged, and it tugged, and it tugged, and tugged until it was conditioned at that point. That was its limit. So whatever happened in your life up until this point where you want to be a PJ, there's always that limit that you guys have done. I've asked guys, what's the hardest thing you've ever done? One guy I just talked to, he had broke his neck, recovered, and now he's trying to be a TAC P. I've had guys who have planned their father's funeral, said that was the hardest thing. So emotionally and then physically. But everyone has that glass ceiling, if I may. That glass ceiling is something that you can break through. You can look right through it and you can see the sky, but something's hitting your head every time. That's that conditioned point you've been in. So in Indoc, just remember that there's going to be a time where you are going to see that. So just break through that. Think about why you came there. What was the reason that you spent months upon months training for this, and all the YouTube videos that you looked up and things like this, what we're doing right now, and everyone you told that you want to be a PJ, just everything. And don't break over a moment of weakness. I see that all the time, and they always instantly regret it. So, that's that.
Yeah, and Thomas and I both process some of the paperwork for guides. Whenever you SIE or quit, whatever, you have to sign a form. You have to put down like a reason why, because the commandant wants to talk to you, and they just want to see make sure everything was kosher and it was a clean, okay, you did it yourself or whatever. So you have to put a reason on there for why you SIE'd. So we always thought there was a moment of weakness. There was that moment where I just wasn't thinking clearly. A moment just like a split second where you lost your train of thought, lost your mind, and thought that it would be better for you to get out of the water and blow the horn rather than to go subsurface and feel the pain again. So there's always going to be that time when you feel that, But again, you could look back to your left and your right, look at your teammates, and then think about if you were in a situation that required, like what Sergeant Thomas is doing, bullets flying everywhere, and there's a person that's dying on the ground. If Sergeant Thomas would have turned around and went back in the helicopter or whatever, quit, then that person wouldn't have had their family wouldn't have been able to see them alive, and they wouldn't have been able to say goodbye. At least he gave them that. If you're already there, you're in this, you're committed to this, then finish it, and be what you said you were going to be. Finish it, see it through.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that elephant story. I like that elephant story when you tell it, just because I think everyone has it. Even if you're not going to Indoc or you're not doing any of this stuff, like you guys, everyone still has it. And even if it's not just to do with like physical limitations, some people think of mental limitations or whatever. I never thought I would have a business doing anything, honestly. I just thought I would be in the military doing whatever it was that I was told to do. Obviously, you're still in the same boat, but if you're around like-minded people, it's also going to thrust you into that next level of like, hey, I can do this. Like, my friend's going to help me out here. We're going to help each other out and make sure that we succeed as much as possible. And along the way, obviously, we both have our passions, and we make sure that we help people in whatever way we can. And I guess that's
for sure.
The reason we're PJs.
Well
Yeah. So another question on here, do active duty PJs respond to natural disasters that happen in the U.S.? Differences, do you know any differences between the reserves and Guard or whoever else active duty natural disaster was?
Yeah, I mean, Patrick did Katrina. They just did the hurricane from last year. I mean, we're involved with everything. It's really who's near and who can help, especially in the PJ community. I mean, basically active duty to even reservists, we try to help as much as we can.
Yeah, I don't think there's really any discrimination. Like, if there's a PJ unit that's nearby and people need to be saved, then we're going to activate it. It may be a little faster or slower depending on the unit and funding type of stuff, but it'll happen either way. So somebody's asking if being an RN will help overall being a PJ. I mean, some of these other questions I'll answer later on, but for the most part, like Sergeant was saying, it's going to help you with your medicine, definitely. I mean, as much medicine as you can figure out, then it's going to help your patient. Let's see. So if you don't live in the same state as the unit that you work for, how does that work?
So just because I haven't done that side, just from what I know is that they pay, I believe, up to almost $300 for you to fly back, but just make sure that you get those tickets early, so you're not having to pay out of your pocket. So if you need to go back to get green and you're in a different state and you're doing a different job, then you're gonna fly back. They'll help you fly back just a certain amount of money. I want to say it's $300.
See, is there anything you wish you knew before joining to be a PJ?
Well, yeah, I mean, you wish you knew everything, but that's the thing about this job and Indoc and basic is the element of surprise and just being able to handle that and stay calm in situations like that. I think, obviously there's always something else you'd like to know, but I wouldn't change anything, to be honest. It builds the character, and at least the character I am today.
Yeah, there's definitely no point in time where I still don't feel like I know everything about the career field that there is to possibly know. Like, there are people that have experienced different things than I have and different perspectives on like missions and stuff like that. That's why I have other people on here, is because no one person, I think, knows every single thing about everything. I know a lot about how to do certain things, but experiences always are different. Every mission is different, and I think it's important to listen to other people and see what they have to say, and hopefully whatever you're saying is ringing in with someone a little bit more than what I say. And we did the same thing back in Indoc. Some guys didn't respond to some instructors, and other guys did. I think you were voted the most motivational Indoc instructor 12 classes in a row or whatever, but you always got that. Pagan's on here. You probably saw him
John.
recently. He's asking, do you have any insight on the selection process at the guard unit? So yeah, I guess you went over this a little bit, but you can talk to him a little bit real quick.
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends on what unit you have and what kind of structure that they're going to bring. Most likely they're going to try to test you to make sure that you're what they're looking for, and then obviously you're going to have an exit interview of your personality. So you physically can be the biggest stud in the world, but if personally that's not what they're looking for, then they might not pick you up. There's a whole circle, a whole pie that they want to have in a guy before they select you to put him in their unit.
All right. So last question that I get all the time is, so in between basic training, BA Prep, and development course, what are the breaks like, and are you able to see your family in between?
In between what? Which ones?
In between BMT and BA Prep, and then after BA Prep, before you go to Dev.
Possibly, maybe a weekend, maybe. Definitely at basic, you're going to see your family if they come and see you graduate.
Yeah.
And then, the thing is, there's rules, depending on your proctor and your leadership and the commandant and the commander of having families over on the weekend. There's just a bunch of different rules that you guys are going to have to adapt to when you get there. Things might change by the time you get there. But I wouldn't count on distracting yourself during dev course or Indoc or any of those times. Something like I said, you talk to your family beforehand and just let them know that you're not going to see them for possibly 14 plus weeks because you're doing this job as pararescue.
Cool. All right, I don't want to take up any more of your time. There are some other questions out there that are just general stuff. I'll get to here in a little bit, but I really appreciate you taking the time out. I know you're a busy guy with business. You guys go out there and check out Valor Med. That's www.valor-med.com. Dash is important on there, and check it out. He's doing a lot of stuff for the San Antonio community, and hopefully, the rest of the U.S. Important skills out there that I think all people in schools and in general life should know how to, resuscitate and revive your buddy if whatever happens, trauma or drowning or whatever happens. So he's doing a lot of stuff. What was that? The GoFundMe?
Just the GoFundMe.com/Valor Med, and the link is help put trauma kits in schools. That's basically what we're trying to do with that GoFundMe. Whatever money we raise from that, we're going to build kits and put them right into these schools for free, so they don't have to pay for it and they don't have to get a grant or anything like that. I'm just trying to get the community together for us to push that into schools. So I appreciate that big time. That'd be an awesome help. So thank you for bringing that up.
Cool. Again, I'm sure everyone else appreciates it, you being on here. Hopefully we can have you on here again, hear some more motivational stuff, and hear some more about how you're doing with your stuff. Any last things you want to say to the rest of the people on there?
Nope. Appreciate you having me on here, and I hope to come on again later on. If you guys have any questions, just text me. And other than that, I appreciate it, and you guys have a good night.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Bye. All right. So again, that was Kris Tomes. I really appreciate him being on here. And hopefully you guys learned something from him. Got a lot of motivation and a lot of inspiration. And I always like hearing him talk about some of his stories and perspectives on stuff. So good stuff. And hopefully whenever you guys get into BA Prep or Indoc, you guys can meet him too. Because he's still down there. I'm still pretty sad that he shaved the stash, though. I don't know why he did that. But that's all right. I'm sure he'll bring it back. Let's see. I'll get to some of your stuff here. So, Pandaroo, Hey for Buds. They have weekends for rest day. and they're able to leave posts in Indoc are weekends and rest rejuvenation days. Sometimes they're rest and rejuvenation days, unless you guys are messing up pretty bad. And, obviously we feel like we need to let you guys know that you're feeling or you're messing up. So sometimes we'll go over there and visit you guys on the weekends and, tell you guys what you need to fix. Thank you for the comment. Appreciate it. I'm glad I could put some information out there for you guys. Again, that's my goal. Put out as much information for you guys as possible. And like I said, the commander of the squadron over at the Battlefield Airman Training Squadron is on board, and he wants me to put out as much information to you guys as possible so that you guys are ready to go for Indoc. Let's see. Can people living outside the U.S. become a PJ? I'm really not the expert on this kind of stuff. I wish about it, but again, I'm not a recruiter or anything like that. I would ask that you go message, if you look up under USAF Spec Ops Recruiting, a lot of those guys are on here can answer some of these questions for you guys. So Andrew Mounts, sometimes not until after ETD you can leave the base unless it's a pool. It kind of is up to your proctors. If your proctors feel comfortable with you going off, then they'll let you guys go off base. But for the most part, we keep you guys on lockdown most of the time throughout training until after ETD. And you guys will learn more about that. I'm not going to get into Navy SEALs versus PJ training. Just say they're each unique in their own right, but we do have a higher attrition rate. BA Prep, I think they're a little bit more lenient on whether or not you get to go in or you get to leave base and that kind of stuff, as long as it's in conjunction with your phase program. So while you're in student status, you have a phase program, and after you just get out of basic training, you're in the initial training phase or whatever, and you're not allowed to go anywhere, and then later on you're allowed to be an adult after like 2 or 4 weeks or something like that, and you can do stuff. But military is kind of like that. You just need to progress back into normal life, I guess. Let's see. Adolfson 26. Certain character or trait that you see all across the board that seems to be sought out. So if you think about, I don't know, some of the people that you think that are square away, even in your job that you have right now, you always look for someone that has a cool, calm head, they're patient, and they're able to, every time they speak, it's not something that people would think is a bad idea. Like if they're going to contribute to a meeting, they always have a thought out idea. Even if they thought it out for like 10 seconds or whatever, they listen to the room and then gauge the room, and then they put out their idea, which they thought out and they think about it. They're not just blurting out like, we should do this, or we should do this, or we should do this. It's always, this is a plan, and this is why this is a plan. And they execute it. So that, and having the confidence to speak up and tell everyone your plan, I think is a valuable trait, especially in an operator. Let's see, is land nav something that we should be familiar with prior to getting Indoc? No, you're not going to be doing any land nav in Indoc. You're going to be doing some rucking, but you're not going to be doing any land nav until you get into apprentice course, which is 2 years down the road from when you get to Indoc. So you'll be taught all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he is still an instructor over at the schoolhouse, Davenport. A lot of these are recruiter questions that I don't really have the answers to. So again, just go on here and talk to the recruiter about some of this stuff. So a lot of people ask about good careers after being a PJ. Honestly, a lot of guys They can go PA route like I am, MD, firefighter. Some guys are free fall or not free fall, skydiving instructors, scuba instructors, or that kind of stuff. So it's really whatever you feel like you like doing as a PJ, then you can go ahead and do that kind of stuff. Because most of the stuff we'll have civilian certifications that go along with our military certifications, just so that we have the ability to do stuff on the outside. Andrew Mounts, yes. If you guys are if you're trying to be a cross trainee, then there is going to be a prior screen, which is called Phase 2. Then it's the enlisted Phase 2, and it's going to be held at Indoc. So Seth Holla Texan, talk a little bit about your 8-week training program on your website for the pass test. So I kind of based that off of workouts that I came up with as I was trying to progress and go through the pass test, because we had the pass test when I was going through 13 years ago or whatever. But so some of the workouts that I did then, and then also some of the workouts that I had guys do in Indoc, because we always had setbacks that were not able to do push-ups or not able to do pull-ups or whatever the case was. They weren't able to do a certain calisthenics or water confidence exercise. So we always had, if you weren't the main proctor of the team, some of the guys like myself or whatever rotated through and helped out with the setbacks, because they stayed at CQ and they basically had just time to answer the phone and work out. So we made workouts for these guys, and I put in everything that I could in these workouts that I made to make sure that you are getting all your numbers up and you have exactly what you need to do in order to pass the pass test. It's not anything else. It's as much targeted as you possibly can without getting overtrained or any of that kind of stuff, just to pass the pass test. And that's why it's as straightforward as possible. That's what it's for. The Indoc one, that one's obviously so you can graduate Indoc grad. And that one has a lot more complex exercises and stuff in there. So again, I like the progress that everyone that has done it has made, and it's just awesome to see everyone putting in the work and getting the big results like they were asking for. Kinley Strumpf, what was the hardest part of paramedic school? Honestly, I think with any school like that, it's just staying on task. It's the day in and day out. You know that you're going to go to school for 9 hours a day, you're going to go home, eat, and then you're going to study for another 3 hours, and then you're going to do it again and again and again. I think that, for the most part, is the hardest part for guys, just because guys are just like, you know what, I'm not going to study tonight, and then they have failing tests, test after test, and they just can't get back on pace, and they end up not making it because of that. Don't get me wrong, not very many people fail out of paramedic school, but you know, the people that do, it's because of that. Alave Nick, best boots for rucking. I think, honestly, it's really depends on the person's foot. I would recommend going to wherever and like REI or whatever kind of store you have around your town and trying out different shoes and boots. So for rucking, you don't want anything that's going to be too stiff, definitely. And I like the Loas and Keens. I've worn those two pretty much my entire career. Aside from that, I've tried a bunch of other different types of boots, and I just never really liked them. The only downside of the Keens, even though they're not as expensive, they're also they only last me about a year worth of rucking and stuff like that, and they start falling apart. But they're super comfortable, and they don't need like a break-in period or anything like that when I wear them. The Woodsman, PJs versus Navy EOD. I've worked with a lot of Navy EOD guys. I think the main difference is they like to party more, basically. Those guys really just like to party and drink a lot. As far as differences in toughness or whatever, everyone has their tough guys and their not so tough guys, so can't really say much about that. Ike B, would it be better to go through college before or after joining the USAF? It depends on whether or not you want to be an officer or whether you want to be a PJ. So that's all that really matters. If you want to be a PJ, go now and go live your life, enjoy it. And then if you want to later, you can get your degree and then go be a crow or an officer. Nick Strong, 325. Yeah, no problem reposting. I saw it earlier. It's just a question that I could answer here versus, taking up Thomas's time. So joining STS versus rescue squadrons preference. So basically, it's kind of performance and preference. If you want to go most of the time and you're a good PJ, then they'll send you over there. But it's a smaller team, so they want better PJs. And for the most part, you're going to be going with other units that you're not going to have like top sight from like your tech sergeant or your E7 or whatever. It's going to be you, the E3 or 4, rolling with the SEALs or whoever. So you have to know your stuff and you have to represent the career field well. Otherwise, they're not going to want to send you to those units. So for the most part, they send more squared away guys over to the STS units. So Adolfson 26, yeah, schools are basically, for the most part, we try to do them in order, but as they become available, then we send you to schools. So we're not going to hold you back from going to a school when there's one open. So that's kind of how we run those. Yeah, I had Rockies, but I don't know. I just never got into them for rucking for some reason. I don't know. I just don't feel support. My foot feels kind of sloshy in them for some reason. Marcus Wolk, did your paramedic training transfer as college credits towards becoming a PA? Not really. I didn't need a degree or anything like that to be a PA. All I needed was those prereqs that they required. So it was really not too much schooling that I had to do because some of the stuff that I had as far as community college and stuff counted for that. So it wasn't terrible. Nick Strong, to prevent chafing. So I use basically like, what do they call it, body light or something like that. There's a powder form that I put in between my legs. I think you're talking about in between your legs. And that usually just cures it for me. There's another one that looks like deodorant that also helps. I forgot what the name of it is though. A lot of guys used to use it. Anyways, Body Glide, that works. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up now. It's 9 o'clock. So I got to head downstairs and spend some quality time. I appreciate you guys coming on here and listening to myself, Sergeant Thomas, talk. Remember, we have the Indoc Leader program going the 29th of April, and I'm going to have another Indoc instructor, or former Indoc instructor, running that with me. So I think there are 2 slots left unless someone got them while I was talking, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I really enjoy spending time helping you guys out and seeing you guys in person. This whole internet thing isn't new to me, but I enjoy that I'm seeing some of the progress in you guys, and hopefully when you guys get to Indoc and you get on doorstep, you're like, holy crap, this helped out a lot. I'm really glad that I tuned in for that hour and a half and listening to Silva talk and, whatever. You guys know or don't know, I said in some of my other videos, I'm not a person that likes to hear myself talk. I'm not a person that really gives long-winded speeches or anything like that. But I do this for you guys so that you have all the information that you possibly can, and you can be ready to go. So thanks again. And if you guys have questions afterwards, obviously I'm always open to answering questions. Just give me a little time. I'm going to be gone for a week or so. I haven't taken a vacation in like 4 years, so I'm finally taking a vacation in a couple days, and I'll be gone for 6 days. So if I'm slow getting to your answers, that's the reason why. I think my wife and I, we haven't taken a vacation since we had our 2 kids. So it's time for us to relax a little bit. But I'll get to your questions eventually for sure. And I hope to see you guys sometime soon. If you get an Indoc, let me know and I'll stop by. See you, meet you. Tell the instructors not to go easy on you, basically. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys on the May edition. I'll see what I can get for you guys. If you guys have any suggestions or people that you want to see, come on here and talk with me, or even repeats of people that you didn't get to catch last time, then just send me a message and I'll get them on here. All right? Talk to you guys later, and be safe out there. Train hard.